to love thee doth much excuse that appertain. Okay, so you see that the breathing changed it completely. Try it one more time.
Oh, you want me to
Let me read your intro line. Romeo, the love I bear thee can afford no better term than this. Thou art a villain.
How do you say that one word?
Which word?
Appertaining?
Appertaining.
Okay. Tibbles, the reason... Oh, that was bad. Hold on.
Okay.
Tibbles, the reason I have to love thee doth much excuse the appertaining rage.
Okay, good. Now, this scene changes. Romeo changes in this scene. When's the big change come after what happens? Mercutio dies, okay? So, on Alyssa's script, right when Mercutio dies, what quality really comes out? He gets really ticked, okay? So, in that part of the script, you're going to write anger, okay, on the side. And after Mercutio dies, it's going to be anger, okay? Now, let's find that line. A line with... Now, does your scene go until...
I don't have all of my script with me.
Okay, let's pretend this is after Mercutio has died, and you're going to read just a random Romeo line
Okay.
with the same qualities, but a lot of anger. Okay, think about what you might want to do with anger. Maybe the clenched teeth thing. Maybe just get a little mad. Get in your happy place and get mad. You can be loud as you want. Okay, ready? Let me give you a line and you read into it. You do these two. I'll read this.
Okay.
Boy, this shall not excuse the injuries that thou hast done me. Therefore turn and draw.
But I do protest. I never injured thee, but love thee better than thou canst devise.
And she gives me that little look again. Okay, here's the deal. She's good, right? She's good. For a lot of you, this is going to be a little harder. But the difference between her just memorizing the lines and delivering it in normal Alyssa voice versus what she just did, that makes all the difference, okay, in this. So I want you guys to mark up your scripts, okay, before we go into groups. If you have one character, you just write 5 characteristics of that person, okay? Something like dramatic, young, noble, annoyed, scared, okay? If you're just playing one character, you write those on your script. And if there are any changes, like when Romeo gets really angry, I want you to note that somewhere in your script. A lot of you are doing more than one character. If you're doing more than one character, just write 3 qualities for each character, okay? And you're going to be doing this in groups. You guys are going to bounce these voices off each other once you write your qualities down, okay? And then feedback, and we're going to try to find our voices today, and I really want to hear them when you're doing your final products, okay? Miss Lumpkin, I really want to hear it. I'm going to be coming around and helping you. Obviously, some people are going to be a little more apprehensive about this because it's not easy to put yourself out there, but and some of you are perfectly fine with that. So be supportive, find a voice, take about 5 minutes to write down your qualities on your script, and then meet in your groups and go around. Okay? Any questions?
Dang, actually, never here.
Yeah. Think about an 18-year-old, okay? Think about the Army. The Army wants to recruit people, right? Shh. Let's focus. The Army wants to recruit people. What is an advantage of being able to recruit younger people and have younger people in the Army? Somebody raise their hand and tell me an advantage for the Army trying to recruit. Yeah.
The young people, they don't know what they're going to do yet.
Okay, good. We talked about that dichotomy. Okay, yes, Kevin. Okay, they can be in the Army for longer. Yes, Sal.
Their body.
Huh?
Their body. Like,
Okay, there's a difference between 18 and 21. You saying their bodies?
no, like I said, you can't send like a 50-year-old down in war, but you can send a young kid because they're developing.
Okay, but I'm talking about the difference between 18 and 24, like this person is saying. Why is 18 an advantage? Yes.
From 18, if I say, I'm just gonna go to war, so I don't care about school, so he doesn't care about it.
Good. Good. This is great. Okay, we talked about this in the first chapter when they were talking about old men in war. They're already established, right? They already have their lives more figured out, okay? They have families to go back to, careers to go back to. So to them, the war is just an interruption in their life if they make it.
okay? But talk about an 18-year-old. An 18-year-old hasn't been on the planet as long, and they don't have, for the most part, things like families already there. They don't have their goals in mind. They're kind of, when you're 18, and I went through this when I was leaving high school, even though I know I was going to college, it's like, what am I going to do? What am I going to major in? You're kind of still figuring things out. And then the Army presents itself, and you don't have as much to leave behind, right? He has his poetry, Paul does, that he left behind, but you're not as established at age 18, so maybe you're more naive, but you also don't have as much to lose by joining in the Army, and it gives you a direction. Okay, so being able to recruit somebody who's 18 versus somebody who's 21, they might be more susceptible. But it's a big couple years from 18 to 21. A lot can happen to you between those years, 18 to 24. That's when you make big decisions about your life. Okay, you might start a family, you might decide what you want to do between those years. Okay, so if you don't have all that figured out, you might be a good candidate to be recruited into the Army. Okay, so these are things that I want you to think about when they mention age in the book. Think about the young versus the old, why the young are out there fighting, and what the war does to people of a different age. Okay, so keep that in mind. Dichotomy. What was a dichotomy? No, dichotomy. We talked about dichotomy. One thing versus the other. What was it? It's in your packets. Not a debate. A dichotomy was when you put two things together, right? And you put them together to show their comparison. So dichotomies, nature versus the violence of man. That's part of this. Because he talks about this beautiful landscapes and then getting blown up by this violence, okay? Young men versus old men. Think about the dichotomy between young men versus old men as you continue to read this, okay? Chapter 4 worksheet we just went over. It was people who are saying this book is boring, obviously haven't caught up to read chapter 4. It was a gross, disturbing chapter, but it's certainly not boring. This book has a lot of action in it. It's a page turner, they call it. It goes by very quickly, okay? I'm going to give you the rest of the period to read. I prefer you read individually actually today, but if you're reading in groups, I was a little disappointed yesterday in the amount of work that got done in groups. Getting reading done now in chapter 5 is going to allow you to watch the Super Bowl on Sunday, so you don't have to do it then. Okay, this is a lesson I didn't learn until later in my academic career. Use time wisely in school. Moving forward, we're using the Shakespeare Made Easy version. Okay? You know that we're only reading the right-hand side of the pages, and the right-hand side of the pages are kind of a little easier translation of the left side, right? Okay, so the left side page has the real thing, the original Shakespeare. And that was 500 years ago, right? So it's a little tough to translate. So, when you move up to a single period, which based on your benchmark exams, all of you are more than capable of doing at some point, okay? The higher levels here, what they do is they read just the left-hand side, okay? They have just the real thing, and it's tough. And I read you some when we first got introduced to this play, and you saw how it's kind of difficult, okay? And they have to read it at home by themselves, and of course the teachers help determine what's going on, and they go over it, ladies. So today we're just going to get a taste of what that might be like, okay? We're going to do it in groups of 2 or 3. I'll let you pick your partners, but you got to be working pretty diligently, okay? This is going to be a graded assignment based on your effort and based on the final product. Okay? So I have different scenes. Gentlemen, let's go. Focus. I have different scenes from the play. Okay? I have about 7 different ones. 1 for each group. So whoever's in your group is going to be, you're going to have the same passage. Okay? Here's my example passage. So this is like the sheet I'm going to give you. It says at the top what's going on. This is right after the murder of Duncan, when Lennox is explaining to Macbeth, Malcolm, and Donalbain that the 2 servants are the ones who killed the king. Okay, you guys kind of remember that scene? He's just discovered the king's body, and he comes out and he's explaining what happened, and they're saying who did it, right? Okay, so Malcolm says, "Oh,